Welcome back everybody to another episode of GrowerMD Farms. I'm going to be showing you exactly how I built my UniStrut Trolley system drying rack. This video is going to have links to every single part that I purchased in order to make this kit just about. There are a few small things that you'll need to purchase at your local Home Depot or hardware store, but everything else you can support the channel by purchasing from the links down below. This is a project that I've wanted to do for a while, and overall it's kind of completely unnecessary, but just something that I thought was cool and was inspired by an idea that I saw on the Miami Mango or Mango Tech Instagram page, so I want to give credit there. First, I want to show you a little bit of what it looks like in the before state, and the only thing notable that I've really done in here since you guys have seen it when it was an actual grow space was I had a bunch of flooring left over from when I redid my house, so I actually put flooring, baseboards, and everything in this shed as well, which actually turns the room into a much nicer looking space. But nonetheless, the rest of what's going on in here was pretty much just the room had been seeing quite a bit of use over the years, so it's going to get cleaned up and we're going to make a few small changes. The first thing that you're going to want to do is identify your studs and the space within that you're working. What we did was used a self-leveling cross laser level to identify a straight line for us to be able to mount our UniStrut to. I always advise pre-drilling with a small drill bit to ensure that you are lined up into a stud like you think you are before doing any of your major actual drilling. Once you've got your line identified, you can go ahead and start marking it out for your UniStrut. The next thing we did was cut our UniStrut to length, and then very quickly found out we would not be able to add anything once it was mounted. So we took it down and pre-made the sub-assembly of having all the trolleys and any end stops that you're going to be potentially using into an assembly along with the 3 hangers. I ended up using 3 hangers in my situation in order to support the weight evenly, which may or may not be necessary. You may need more, you may be able to get by with less. Also, I only went with these heavy duty trolleys because there was an amazing sale on them on Amazon and they were cheaper than the single hole trolleys. So these can hold way more weight than I particularly need, but they will work just as well. Alright, so once everything was pre-assembled, we went ahead and drilled all of our holes to align our UniStrut. And in this case, we went ahead and used a 1564 drill bit to pre-drill the holes for the lag bolts, which in this case are 3/8 by 2-inch lags. And the reason I did this was to make sure that I had the most force for supporting the weight. And the annoying part that we found about this after the first one was that you actually have to install the lag, install the socket between the gap of the hanger and the UniStrut, and then feed a bit extender through the UniStrut in order to actually tighten these down. So kind of annoying, but got a process down of kind of doing the first one and then doing the middle one first and then going and doing the outers second. This is definitely one of those tasks where it helps to have a friend hold and support the weight while you're working on the other end, but we kind of figured out a trick that was working pretty decently, which was to feed everything through, get the lag started with our fingers, and then go ahead and feed the socket underneath and get it installed on the lag, then to bring the socket extender through all of that material and then go ahead and tighten it down. And in our situation, I went ahead and used an air compressed pneumatic drive drill. The last thing to complete this system is to install the 3/8 by 2.5-inch bolt and the hex nut that goes along with it. You're going to want this on each of your UniStrut hangers, and that's going to help make sure that there is no sliding of the UniStrut through any of the weight transfer from the trolley itself. All of the required hardware I was able to pick up at my local Home Depot, and all of the items required for the UniStrut I ordered online from Amazon. All I did from here was add some S-hooks in order to attach to my current drying racks, and just like that, you can have a UniStrut trolley system drying rack. And in my situation, I have currently my old drying racks, which are made of my PVC with just some basic trellis netting that I was using out of my drying tent in my garage actually. And I'm going to go ahead and reuse them for a little while longer, but I do plan to remake these later, and I have already ordered some different S-hooks, which I will link in the description of the video, that I think are a much better fit for my purposes. But you can go ahead and now attach it to your drying rack of your choice. I do not have the luxury of being right next to where my growing space is, so I harvest in a different area of my property, and I carry these racks into my drying room. So I make them out of PVC to keep it as light as possible, and I want to be able to hook them onto my racks very easily, so that's the point of the S-hook, going right onto the PVC. From here, all that's left is to reset the room, and the main thing that I do is do a deep clean before I transition into another harvest. I'll start with just an antibacterial spray, and I'm going to spray every surface of the walls and the ceiling of the room, making sure everything is wiped down extremely well. Any residue from any previous run can be lingering on almost any porous surface of your room, so I do think that deep cleaning is extremely critical between every cycle. Some of the other small changes I made was just by moving my carbon filter down to the ground, which will make it easier for me to service and replace in the future, but for the most part I only did that to make access for the sliding racks on the trolley system. As you can see, I have a dehumidifier and a Horticat 80 humidifier, along with a Tornado 16-inch oscillating fan mounted below the canopy line just to keep air moving below my plant matter. I also decided to do a little cleanup on the cable routing of my Trollmaster cable lines and power lines for my fans. Since I didn't have the option of pre-wiring this when I actually built this room, I made the best of the situation and just tried to clean up what was already there. Another minor change was to the intake fan side, which was by adding a duct and bringing that all the way down to the floor, which will make sure that the intake fan does not blow any direct air onto any of my plant matter as well. And this is the finished result, and I am really happy with the way this came out. It's going to make my harvesting a lot more convenient. Previously, I was just mounting these directly to the ceiling using straight 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch pipe hangers, and it kept them stationary and made it pretty inconvenient when I needed to go into the room and they were all permanently stuck in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, all links will be in the description of the video. Please go ahead, check that out, and make sure you like, subscribe for the next time. I have some really exciting giveaways that I'm trying to do in the channel in the near future, so make sure you do not miss out and turn on your notifications. I'll see you in the next one.